All right, what's going on today, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite cyclist YouTube channel. This week, we're going over the whole Sea Otter Classic gravel 30-mile race. So, we'll start right here. This is the bike I rode upon right here, my good old Poseidon Redwood. We pretty much modified and changed stuff around and made this work to be pretty much our race bike for this year. Of course, we're talking about the one we just did, which is the Sea Otter Classic Gravel. We're also going to do Grinduro in September. So, kind of want this bike to be reliable and comfortable, but also fast as well when you're racing, of course. You want it to be fast, you don't want it to be slow, right? So, that was kind of our main goal here. Of course, this bike is not, the Redwood not necessarily is a race bike. I wouldn't consider it a racing bike, but for a gravel bike, it does a really, really good job of that. So, Sea Otter Classic was my first ever gravel race I've ever raced in. My background really in racing comes from cross-country endurance races aboard the Trek Superfly back here. That's where I kind of got that in, with 6 and 24-hour endurance cross-country races. So, if you honestly look at the races back then, that was 10 years ago, a little older than 10 years ago, to what gravel is now, there's a lot of similarities between the two. So after kind of weighing my options, whether I wanted to try and race cross country now or race enduro or what I wanted to do, I wanted to try gravel because that was closest to what I felt like I raced before. And I can say for the course at Sea Otter Classic, the gravel course they have is it's the perfect blend of everything related to gravel. You have everything from paved roads to pretty torn up paved roads to gravel to some single tracks, some pretty nasty descents and nasty climbs too. Pretty much everything that encompasses gravel riding is in that course. I can't argue that that course was pretty much perfect as you could get for defining gravel cycling. That was the course that covered everything. And I can definitely say the course was a really, really good course. It happened to be dry. It was beautiful weather the whole time. Definitely warmed up some near the end of the race, but no big deal. It just warmed up and it felt great. Felt really, really good. I'm still suffering from sunburns from that, but that's okay. We're almost healed of sunburns for that one. So I said the course was pretty much perfect, and I agree. There's not much else you could do that course to make it any better than it was. Now, of course, you have, I would say, majority of the course, the first 27-ish miles, pretty good. I can say the aid stations for just doing the one lap course, which is what I did at the 30-mile. The aid stations are kind of spread out a little bit, but where the second one is positioned is pretty much the ideal spot. Right before you go through the last big climbs, that's where the aid station is. So that was a real big help for me. Yeah, kind of hard to beat that. The last hills, mainly it was that last hill back up to, I can't remember what they call it, Lookout Point, Lookout Ridge or something like that. That hill sucks. That hill hurts. That's, you climb about 800 feet in about a mile or so. And it's got some steep grades to it. That one hurts. I rode probably about 3/4 of it and I walked the other quarter because it got to a point where no matter what you tried to do, you were either going to take a pedal and make it, you were going to take a pedal and just die and crash, or you were just going to walk. And when I hit that point, I kind of just came to it like, I made it 27, 28 miles already. I'm not going to crash right here because I thought I could make a pedal on it and make it. So I just decided to walk it up. Again, for me, this wasn't like, I need the fastest time. If I don't place first, this is horrible. For me, this was I want to test gravel out. I want to give it a shot, see how it goes, really try my bike. Grinduro is really what I want to do good at, or where I really want to succeed at. It's kind of my goal. So this was really just a test of everything and seeing how it was and just seeing if I could do it. That was kind of my main goals for this. Honestly, the big goal was finish the gravel race. And I finished the gravel race. I did all 30.8 miles, finished it all. And I even hit my second goal was to hit it within 3 hours. And I hit it within 3 hours. I hit it 3 hours. Okay, I was a little over. I hit like 3 hours and like 2 minutes or something, which was perfect what I wanted to do. That was averaging about 10 miles an hour, which is kind of what I figured based on the course and how I normally average on that kind of terrain and everything. About 10 miles an hour. Felt really good. I hit my goals for what I wanted out of the Sea Otter Classic gravel race. Worked great. So let's talk more about my bike setup here and what worked, what didn't work, what we're going to change for future races and future things. Let's talk about that. So, again, Poseidon Redwood here. This is the size of large. This is a good bike. I love this bike here. So we'll kind of move up to the front here. So aluminum frame. So I have swapped the fork out to the State Monster Gravel fork here, version 2. I have swapped it out to that. It's a carbon fiber fork versus the aluminum one that comes on this bike originally. Better vibration dampening. It's like a whole pound lighter. And it still holds on to all your mounting and everything like that. You can adjust the chip in it to get different handling characteristics. I just left how I normally ride it, which is the kind of a little bit more... It's a side geared towards like a 650B, which is what we're running on this bike. So that's kind of the one I ran. I like the feel of it. Feel like it gives me more control in like loose and technical situations, which I take this bike in quite a bit. And I feel like that helped me a lot in the race. So Monster Gravel fork right down there. So moving up to the bars, we got the Redshift shock stop stem and the 70 millimeters. Works great. Saves your hands. Feels so much better with that stem than without it. Bars, we have the Redshift kitchen sink handlebar setup here. Works great. Has the cruise control grips, top and the bottoms. And it's comfy. We got the Wolf Tooth supple bar tape on here. I mean, for someone like me that, you know, I struggle a little bit with the numb hands a little bit. This was a perfect setup for me. We're in a 53 centimeter wide bar, so a huge bar that fits me with a wide shoulder really good. You couldn't ask for a better setup. The bar is what I put on here like right when we first got the bike 2 years ago, and I haven't changed it. I have no desire to change this bar because it works so good for me. And then going with that, we have our wheel top EDS GEX system here. So we have our full wireless shifting, and then we have our hydraulic disc brakes as well. We did that most recently. That was just a couple months ago. We did that, and I can say the hydraulic brakes make it a lot more confident when you're ripping down hills. I think the top speed I hit going down a hill was almost 50 miles an hour. And yeah, hydraulic brakes feel pretty good. when you're going that fast, you know, hydraulic brakes can make a big difference. You have a lot more control with them. And yeah, pretty happy we went with hydraulic brakes versus running the cable actuated ones. Nothing wrong with cable actuated, but the hydraulics made a world of difference there. And then for the shifting, for our wireless shifting, we got back here. So we are running the Microshift Advent X cassette back here. This is the alloy version, so it's the lighter one. It's about a pound. It's a pound, half a pound to a pound different than the one with the steel spider on here. So we have the alloy one here, so it's an 11 to 48. And then like I said, the whole wheel top electronic drivetrain system. This thing works really good. I had no complaints with it. It worked just how I wanted it to. There is one gear I need to adjust on it because it's right up here. One of these, it's either the gear I'm in right now or the one above it. It doesn't quite want to stay in that gear, so I need to adjust that a little bit more. I found out during the race it didn't quite want to stay there. It would if you really tried, but I just, yeah, you kind of avoid that gear and I was totally fine. So this worked great. Fully charged before the race, after the race, and after being a Sea Otter for 5 days, after being a Sea Otter for 5 days, it's at 95% battery life. There's 140 left. So battery charge on this thing, I am not worried at all. Not at all. The battery life, even though you can't remove the battery, this thing will last for forever. I'm not worried about it dying at all. Not at all. Never dropped a chain. Of course, we're in a narrow wide chain ring. And then the clutch on here. Never worried about that. Everything felt super solid. So that's kind of that setup there. Tires, we had the Kenda Illuvium Pros on here. These are like the best tires. They were the perfect tire for that race. They rolled super well on the pavement and the smooth stuff, but then had that grip when you came to some of those tight corners where you had to rip around a corner. There was only once where I felt like the rear end slipped out some, and that was just kind of my line choice, honestly. And it was super easy to keep control of. So worked great. Can't argue with these. Then these are 650B by 45. I love the tires. Wheels worked great. These are the Sunringo Duroc 30 and a 650B as well. They worked awesome. I had no complaints with them. I've never had a complaint with Sunringo, and I just love how they ride. Works awesome. That's pretty much the basics of the bike there. That everything worked great. I can't complain. This is pretty much how I'm going to have the bike set up for the rest of the year. We are going to make one change, and I'll talk about that here. So I said I'm planning on making one change to this bike, and that's right back here. Not the wheel top. The wheel top works great. Because of the wheel top EDS GEX system, it lets me do what I'm going to do to this bike. And that's change our rear cassette on here. So, like I said, this is the Microshift Advent X cassette. Nothing wrong with it. Works awesome. I run it on multiple bikes. I've run it for forever. It's decently lightweight for what it is. The ratios on it, it's not quite what I want for what I'm doing. So the Sea Otter Classic gravel race had about 3,000 feet of climbing on it. It's not bad. That's a pretty decent amount of climbing for 30 miles. Not bad. Come to Grinduro, that's coming up in September. That's almost 7,000 feet of climbing. And a lot longer of a course. I think it's about 60 miles, if I remember right. But it's a lot of climbing. That's kind of the big thing. Now, one of the things I felt like I needed on this bike was a little bit more gear ratio in the back. We've already downsized the front chainring. This is a 36 tooth on here versus the 38 that comes on it originally. I would like to get a little bit lower gear on the back. And along with the little bit lower gear on the back, I also want to upgrade to a cassette with a few more speeds to it to get a little bit closer gap between some of the gears. So it's not as big of a jump. Those are two things I noticed that would have helped while I was racing. So obviously, a little bit lower gear would help me stay on the bike potentially longer versus having to walk the last quarter of that big climb. So a little bit lower gear, probably gonna go up to like a 51 to 52 as the large one. So go up, 3 or 4 teeth. Should make a decent amount of difference. The 36 tooth on the front made a big difference. I don't know that I want to change that down to a 34, but we'll see how everything goes come Grinduro time. But that's always a possibility. But I would like to start back here. And then the closer ratios I'm talking about is just some of these gears with the 10 speed have a little bit too much, have a big gap between some of them. So for instance, let's see, you go from there you go. So this one goes from like a 34 to a 40 to the 48. Then you have like a 21 to a 24. I'd like them to be a little bit closer. And pretty much the more speed, the more gears you get on the rear, the closer the gear ratios will be. So I'll fill in some of those gaps in there to make it so I can more precisely get my cadence down right and keep pedaling at an optimum motion, keep a good rotation going on essentially. Versus kind of how it is now. There were multiple times where I would be in a gear and be like, it's a little too easy, and I'd shift down and be like, it's a little too hard, and I'd shift back up. This is too easy. But I'd rather be easy and not wear myself out than too hard and burn out. So I'd like to do that, and that's part of the benefit of the GEX system is I can run whatever cassette I want to run on here, no matter how many speeds. I'm not tied down to a certain brand. I'm not tied down to the micro shift. I can pick kind of whatever I want to pick and however many speeds I want to pick, because this can go up to, I think it's a 14. I think it can go up to like 14 speed or something like that. It can go up quite a ways. I'm not concerned about that. So that's the biggest thing. I think the only thing I'm really planning on changing is just this rear cassette. Going for something a little bit wider range and then going for something with a little bit closer ratios. Should get me pretty solid on this bike. Again, it wasn't like I suffered. It was just I needed something a little bit lower and just needed something a little bit closer ratio. Not a huge deal. Some of you guys might be curious how I placed. So I got the results pulled up here. No big deal for me. Again, I think I mentioned that the course, what they said the course length was about a mile short of what it actually was. They claimed the course was 29.6 miles. It was actually 30.8 is what most of us are getting on our Garmin, our computers. So the course is about a mile longer than they claimed, which was kind of meh. And it had about a few hundred feet of climbing on it. So not sure what happened there, but so the time and that kind of stuff, it's not exactly completely accurate. So at least let's go ranking here. So that's what you guys want to know. So overall, out of everybody, there were 152 racers. I placed 120th. So not bad. I'm not last. That's the big thing. I'm not last. And I'm not first. So that's fine. Not really care. I was essentially a little bit over an hour behind the first place finisher. First place finisher finished in an hour and 52 minutes. I finished in 3:02. So there were people out there really pushing it hard, and that's great for them. They want to do great in the 30 mile. That's awesome. I wanted to complete it, and I completed it. And I am pretty proud of that, finishing my first gravel race, my first real race in about 10 years, 9 or 10 years now. So for me, that's a big accomplishment. Some of you guys might be like, oh, you went super slow. I really don't care. I had fun. It was good to get out there. It makes me feel better, which is what it did. I want to do these cool things out there. and just be able to show you guys what you're capable of doing on and just based on simple stuff. Nothing on here is nothing I did was out of the box. Nothing was crazy. It was all relatively simple stuff. I wasn't going ridiculous training. This is really my biggest ride coming out of winter. So, you know, some people get great weather. Other people like me, I live in Nevada, I live in Reno, where it's not the greatest weather in the winter. So, you know, it just shows you. Enter a race, have fun. You don't need to finish first. You don't need to finish last. And you just gotta have fun doing it. That's kind of the end. That's kind of the end of my thoughts there. Just go have fun racing, have fun riding. It was a beautiful course. You guys will see. I'll try and include some clips of the course while I was in this video. And yeah, go have fun. Go out there, ride your bike, have some fun. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. It was fun. It was a blast at Sea Otter. Like always, I'll have a video coming with more Sea Otter stuff soon. But I thought I'd tell you guys about the race I just completed, and that way you guys maybe get some inspiration from it. If you guys liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. Appreciate the support. Any comments or questions, let me know in the comments section down below. Love talking to you guys. Love answering questions you guys have. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.